Well, we're delighted about this because the boss of JD Wetherspoon has credited demand for fashionable Guinness as the pub chain reported a jump in sales.
Now, Guinness has benefited from a boom in demand over recent years, shaking off its association with rugby lads and old men to appeal to a much younger audience and loads more women.
Well, and joining us now is the very said Tim Martin. Tim, morning to you.
Good morning.
We've got our Guinness here.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
I'm not sure about this boozing on air at this time of the morning, but I'll let you off on this occasion.
As it's you, Tim, as it's you. Now, Guinness is an acquired taste for many people, so I'm surprised it's become so popular.
Yes, it is a real surprise. I think it's always been a popular drink among the demographic you mentioned, the older guy. And I think what the story behind it is about 80 or 90% of pub trade over the last 30 or 40 years, and probably longer, are a similar range of products. But there's a varying 10, 20% according to fashion. So fashion has got a lot to answer for. So you had vodka Red Bull 20 years ago. You had an Irish cider poured over ice, which came from no one knows where. You had Alco Pops. So there's an unpredictable range of products which have been the fashion of the moment. But the fashion of the moment, very unpredictably this time, is Guinness. And no one knows why. As you say, it's an acquired taste. Young people tend not to like it. Most of the fashionable drinks over the decades have been quite sweet. And Guinness obviously isn't. So yes, I think at the Guinness Brewery, St James's Gate in Dublin, they'll say it's brilliant marketing. But like the rest of us, they rely a bit on luck.
Yeah.
I think it's because it looks good, but not only that, there's supposedly some health benefits, and apparently it's full of iron. I think with this sort of health-obsessed, sort of younger, very sensible, sort of woke generation, if they can drink and be healthy, which I suppose it sort of pictures itself as, then that's quite good. They used to do like a little shamrock on the top when they
did.
Used to...
So, Tim, in your pubs, is Guinness now the most popular? Do you serve it as a bottle or both?
Only on draft. In the old days, we sold it in a bottle as well. Nowadays, only on draft. And it's almost, if it's not the top seller, it's very close. And in many pubs, it's the top seller. So my old man worked for Guinness for 31 years.
Did he
my
really?
late dad.
Wow.
So he would have been so pleased to have seen this. He worked, because Guinness sells all around the world. And when he was working there, we lived in New Zealand, in Jamaica, in Malaysia, in Ireland. So it's got a world heritage.
Do you teach everybody in your pubs to do the little shamrock when they pour the drink?
That is a bridge too far, but Guinness are very good, actually, as a company for checking on the cellar standards, the pouring standards, and they actually come in and accredit the pubs, and we do pretty well. But Guinness themselves do a very good job on checking their own products, which will have contributed to the success.
And how is things in the pub trade, in the hospitality trade, Tim? We know it was torrid for you all during the lockdown, and it's not even made easier for you with the government whacking tax on alcohol at every budget because they say it's on health grounds, of course. Is it tough at the moment?
I think that it's very, very unpredictable, the circumstances that have happened. First of all, the lockdown, and then people assumed, almost universally, including us probably, that once the lockdown finished, there would be a boom, but there wasn't. And I think what happened is we're all creatures of habit more than we realise. And having been going to the supermarkets for a considerable time, people stayed at home and went to the supermarket. It's recovered now pretty well for us. Our sales are considerably over where they were pre-pandemic, but it's been a hell of a few years.
And how important
it's very tough for a lot of people, even now.
How important is it, Tim, now that pubs have to serve food?
It's possible to get away without selling food. It's not a legal requirement, but it's if you don't sell food, you've obviously got a much narrower market.
Yeah,
and food now for us is nearly 40% of sales.
Wow.
30 years ago, it was 5%.
Wow, it's quite something. Listen, Tim, lovely to talk to you. That's Tim Martin. He's the chairman of JD Wetherspoons.
Here's to you, Tim.
And cheers, Tim.
And we're going to enjoy it. Lovely to talk to you, Tim Witherspoon. Great man.